morning, YouTube. My name's Archie.
That is not Spitfire Engineering. So we've made it the right width to go through a garden gate. I think we're onto something here.
So this is the weight system.
You might recognise this guy here.
Even I can't blame Dave for this.
Steve has absolutely ploughed through for this third one.
2 inquiries for 2 trommels just from this morning.
Pretty simple construction, 100 by 100 angle.
So we've not spent any hours on this really this week.
So yeah, job done.
Okay, so welcome back to Spitfire Engineering. This is episode 39. I'm Gavin, as you already know. This week is a busy week. This week we've got all sorts going on because we're trying to get finished up this week before we start the new big project next week. So this week we've got the Trident Mortar Mixer going off, heading to the show. We're at the show this week, the UK Concrete Show at the NEC. We've got WBT being finished off, final run up. Now that's all been sorted. We had some issues last week with the power pack, but I think that's all sorted now this week. We've also got Beetlestone's small micro screen. What else have we got on this week, Adam?
Site banks.
Oh, site banks. Yeah, we continue with the site banks. So as I say, we've got a lot going on this week. Lots of loose ends, different bits and bobs. How did you like the format last week? We changed the format last week. Leave in the comments what you thought. Do you think it's an improvement? Okay, so today is Wednesday, and you may have noticed that is not Spitfire Engineering. Now, I've probably touched on this in the past. We've been doing this machine for Trident Equipment. Well, actually, I own Trident Equipment. We're in partnership with another third party in this, who is a brickwork contractor, and the entire Trident thing is his idea. You'll see Gary come up in other videos probably in the future. He might even appear over the next couple of days in their videos. But it's a joint partnership between us and him under a new company called Trident Equipment. Now, Spitfire Engineering is going to be making the product, but Trident Equipment is basically the company that sells it. So we've got a stand up at the UK Concrete Show for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow. The machine was taken up there on Monday. Richard took it up there, and I think we've got some footage of that I'm sure Adam will put in now.
Well, here we are at the NEC after a fairly uneventful drive up here. The heavens opened just as we started to unload, but as you can see, the machine is now on its stand. The build up for the show continues. I'll just flip this round so you can see. So as you can see, this is our stand. At the moment we just have the machine on there. We've got some other marketing material that we need to put on there and make it look a bit more inviting. We are right next to the canteen and the toilets, so you're going to struggle to miss us.
And yeah, we've got a couple of days up there. The idea is to show the product off to potential new customers, hopefully come away with a contacts list of people that are seriously interested in this machine that we can then turn into sales. So I've got Adam and Lauren in the car with me, in Andrea's car today, not my car, because I'm going to have seats for three of us. We've got Gary, who is the business partner involved in this, and Richard already on site setting up the stand. So we're heading up to the NEC now. Let's go and see what people think to the Trident Mortar Master. Okay, so we've made it here today. We've got Gary, we've got Richard. It's been quite busy this morning. It's now lunchtime-ish. We can't actually see. What time is it? Yeah, 1 o'clock. It's just started to calm down a little bit, but we're in a good location. Outside the cafe, we're just going to have some lunch in a minute. Really good location, lots of foot traffic coming past. We've had probably 10 good inquiries this morning already, but today's likely to be the busiest day. Now, we probably haven't shown you this machine yet, so let's just run through what it does. So we've got the spike on the top, and you would drop building sand in the top. The spike would actually pierce the bags and fill the hopper up with building sand. Then underneath here, we've got some weigh cells, so it weighs the contents of the hopper inside. And then what it does, it uses, I think I've mentioned this before, reverse batch weighing technology. So it will reverse the total weight in the hopper. The auger will turn until that weight is reduced to a set amount, and put a set amount of weight into the mixer, and the mixer is that at the end. So you'll put a certain amount of weight of building sand in the mixer, and then if you come over here, we've got some spikes in here, so you would then get a bag of cement on there, empty it out, and put so many bags of cement in there. There's a paddle inside that then mixes the material up, and then we've got some pipe work here that water would be connected to, and we've got a flow meter on there as well, so that we can then put a set amount of water in. Now, the key thing to this is accuracy. This machine will do multiple batch mixes, but the consistency of everything inside is identical on every one. Because we've got the weigh cells, because we've got the flow meter on there, and a set weight in the cement bags, this will dispense mortar of a consistent mix, batch after batch after batch. So that is how it all works. Got the control panel. We've got the control panel down there that's got the weigh cells information on here, and this is all connected to this. And we've got various different controls on here. So, yeah, good feedback this morning. We've actually had some competitors come round that they supply the silos with obviously their mix inside, their mortar mix inside, and they've come round and looked at it and said, can't really find anything wrong with it. They've sort of hinted that this is going to cause them a bit of damage. So I think we're onto something here, and we've also got some other really good inquiries for this machine, and bizarrely, we've got 2 inquiries for 2 trommels, which has nothing to do with this. 2 inquiries for 2 trommels just from this morning. So just leaving day 1 of the show. It's been quite a good day today actually. As you probably saw a minute ago, we're doing some filming whilst we were there, showed you the machine, showed you the stand. But yeah, on the whole, quite impressed with today. It was busier than I expected, and we've come away with some really good inquiries. Now, as we know, it doesn't mean anything until somebody places an order, but some really good inquiries there, interesting conversations with different people, and also speaking to some other companies there that can probably help us push this project forward in the future. So day 1 down, back tomorrow for day 2. Traditionally day 2 shows are quieter, so let's just see what happens tomorrow.
So because we're a new product, we're in the new product hub, and there's all these other companies, and we have got our machine entered into the new product hub. Now I do know that somebody, you might recognise this guy here, he has put his token, because everybody that comes in gets a token and you vote in there. So we know that there's at least one in there. But everybody else, oh look.
There's definitely one in there now.
There's one in there now. Well done, Dave. But yeah, everybody's who's got a new product is entered into this. Honest opinion, Dave, what do you think to our Trident Mortar Master?
Spot again, you did this last time.
Literally, Dave, this isn't pre-warned. Dave doesn't know anything about this. Honest opinion. Now, Dave has got an inferior volumetric concrete mixer. It is inferior. It's not Trident, Dave. So honestly, what do you think to this? Because obviously we're here with a stand. We've got our machine here.
I'm impressed, mate. I'm impressed. I think there's definitely a market for it.
When we first started doing this, I didn't know quite what we were talking about in the early days, but the more and more this has gone along, the more and more I think we're on to something. There is definitely a market for this. So, yeah.
I think if we can change the mixer as well, there's a market for my side of the game as well.
Definitely. This
it's not much bigger
than what you've got, is
I've got. It's definitely compact enough to be. Yeah.
So, $1 million question is, Dave, when would you like yours delivering?
I would buy one, to be fair. I would buy one.
Yeah?
If I hadn't bought mine, I would have looked at something like this or similar if this was on the market. Because I'm not going to tell them how much it is, but on price, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right money on price.
We think so.
Maintenance-wise, it doesn't look like there's too much on it, but you have to maintain it's bearings and stuff, isn't it? Which is.
Would you? Yours has got an auger coming out that does the mixing, which then discharges it away from the machine at a higher.
Yeah.
Would you find that is? You'd want something on here to do the similar, would you?
Yeah, but if you had a pan mixer, you'd have to shoot.
And just shoot it straight onto your table. Oh, okay.
So it's no other mechanical things needed. You'd raise it a little bit, or you'd have it raised a little bit, or you'd have that pan mixer higher. So you'd shoot it, come onto your table there, and then straight to the vibrating table of the molds. That's what I'm saying. You're onto something here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How worn out is your machine?
You're trying to sell me something, aren't you? Bernie will kill me.
Don't worry about Bernie. I'll get Andrew to talk to Bernie.
If you're on the market for these, it would definitely be something I would have looked at.
Yeah?
I think I would have gone for this more than the volumetric, because we're not using the volumetric to its full capabilities. We're not dyeing the concrete. We needed something that was simple, where a lad's going to look after it. It's going to be easy to clean. I think I would have gone for something like this. I don't think is there anything else on the market like this at this size. So I would have come across it.
No, not this style. Not this style. I think there's variations on what you've got, but not like this. Nothing that we can find anyway. Good. Right. Okay. Let's talk numbers off camera then, Dave. So that's it for the show. Just dropped Lauren off, just on my way home now. Interesting couple of days actually. We've done, if anybody's a regular viewer in that, we do an RWM show with Spitfire in September, I think it is. And I've come away from this show thinking we've actually got some better quality inquiries off the back of this show than we normally do for Spitfire off of RWM. That's only my gut feel at the minute. We'll probably look next week when we go through the inquiries and see where we are with it. But we've got a meeting on Tuesday next week it is. So we'll go through all the inquiries and that, and then work out the next steps to go back to them. Interestingly, a lot of people like the idea that they were dealing with the manufacturer direct, and some of them didn't want it exactly how it was. They wanted it slightly different, and we're now talking to them about doing a bespoke solution for them. So that's one of the advantages of working, I guess, for a lot of people with us, is the fact that if you want it a little bit longer, a bit taller, a bit different, we can do it for you. You're not buying out of a brochure, you're buying from a company that makes it. So yeah, good show.
We're at the D&J Projects shredder at the minute. The hopper has come off, the conveyor's been folded out, so we're going to get this welded up flat. It's not as high as I thought it'd be, to be honest, in terms of discharge height. So we've got the joiner off the front there. We're going to need to re-weld up the flywheel temporarily, just so that we can test this motor down here, see if that is causing us the issues with the head drum not turning. Once we've done that, take some more parts off, take the flywheel off, speak to Paul in the office, get him to order a load of parts in for us, and then it's a little bit of a waiting game to get them parts in. We can start having a look at disconnecting some parts here for moving the conveyor to the other side. But that's it. We've got the D&J Projects conveyor on the compressor at the minute. Jamie's currently welding it up. Jamie, fun fact, Jamie can actually weld. He's quite good. He's all right. So we're welding this up so it's one solid piece as opposed to a hinged mechanism. This will then be fitted in the back of the conveyor, or in the back of the machine, sorry, the back of the shredder. And then we're going to need to make a hopper and some greedy boards for it. We're going to do that when it's in position and we can get some more accurate measurements for how it's going to fit. So we'll get some more clips of this going in the machine, hopefully, and then, yeah. So we've got the conveyor in position now. The discharge height is the exact same as the original discharge height. Jamie's currently making the beams that will connect up between the two sides along the bottom of the conveyor. The mounting plates for the sides sort of in the middle of the conveyor to make sure that they can bolt in on and off. And then we're going to have a look at start doing the hopper and the greedy boards for the conveyor.
But you don't want it so that you just drop material straight on here. As without spinning around, it'll spit it back out. I mean, there's a chance that whatever you do to it, it is going to get spat out anyway. Just the nature of the machine is going to be like that. Let me find out from his selector grab how wide it goes when it's open. Because if it fits inside here and we can keep it this sort of size, then that would be better, because if we do flare the sides out, there is a chance that you can end up with material wedging in there. The cutter's running underneath, but the material's wedged above it and it can't get to it. And then the danger is you end up doing that. So we need to try and eliminate that. So one of the problems with this machine was that we hadn't got drive to the conveyor at the back. The actual hydraulic motor was turning, but wasn't actually driving the conveyor. And what the previous people had done, I'd love to blame Dave for this, but even I can't blame Dave for this. What they'd done is, they'd got this spline here, and they'd got a taper lock that went around the outside that's got a smooth internal that's supposed to have a keyway on it. And because it's a taper lock, it actually gripped this shaft, and that was the only thing transmitting the drive. So I think the belt had got snatched or something, and then that spun, and then it just spun inside, so that's why it lost the drive. So we're trying to get hold of a collar that will fit this spline that we can then machine down to suit a taper lock, and it's probably not the way you would design it, but it will actually work quite well when it's done.
So today I'm working on micro screen. I have the frame assembled with the legs on, and the idea is to test the wheel parts for it, which I have on my bench over there, I'll show you in a second. What we need to do is we need to test the wheels work properly with the system we've designed. So I'll get that mocked up on here, try it with the wheels. If it works, fully weld it, get it gone, get it into paint, and then I'll move on to making the aluminium section over there. I'll take you over now to the bit I'm actually working on for the wheel system. So there's a couple of bits on the bench here. There's this bit, which is part of the wheel section, which needs the holes adjusting a bit because they're not quite cut right. And there's this piece here, which I've welded up. I'll lift it, heavy. Oh. Got this piece, which the wheels sit on here, and get bolted on. As you can see, we've got some bushes tacked in there for now. Got them nice and straight. So this will get tested in the frame. If it all works, honky-dory, get welded up, go into paint, all done.
Honky-dory.
Honky-dory.
So if you remember a few weeks ago, we did a small screen to go to a fertiliser place. Well, as I said at the time, there was an order for 2 machines that were pretty much the same model. Doesn't matter what I do around here, they find something noisy to do. And it's always a new noise. It's never... And now Rob's just hammering stuff for the sake of it. Anyway, let's crack on. So you'll probably recognise this is very similar to the last one we did. The same layout with the frame and the same box. And there's a conveyor going to go in there. But the customer for this particular machine wants it so that he can manoeuvre it around the back of people's houses. So we've made it the right width to go through a garden gate. And we've got wheels on this one. And we've also got an adjustable turnbuckle so that we can actually adjust this here, and the wheels will come up so it sits on the floor. And then obviously to move it around, you can have it in that position there, so you can move it around. So we're still making the conveyor for this, and that is going to be made from aluminium, because when this is all put together, it'll be moved around like this with no conveyor. And then because it's made from aluminium, it's light enough for 2 people to lift it up and drop it in onto these 2 slots here. And then you'll just make a plug connection to connect the power from the machine to the conveyor. So it'll actually get moved around in 2 pieces like this, or with a conveyor. And then when it wants to be used, the conveyor will get put in, material will get put in the top. No different to what we saw the other week at the fertiliser place. But yeah, new model. Get people's feedback and thoughts on this. It was a model that we'd thought about years ago, and I took the view that it wasn't big enough for what people would want. They'd want a mini screen. But as it turns out, the market has told us that actually some people do want something smaller. So yeah, a bit of feedback on this would be appreciated. So let us know what you think.
These have been welded up. I'm now assembling it because there is some more welding I need to do. On these side pieces here, which are yet to be bolted down, there is a continuous lip, if you like. It's going to have a troughed belt, which means that all the materials will flow into the middle. But what I'm going to weld on is like some permanent greedy boards, which basically just keep the material going towards the centre of the belt. So that's my task now. And then once this is done, it can go in the frame. We can test the fit, make any adjustments, and then it'll be a case of cleaning everything up. And then, yeah, it'll be looking pucker and ready for the customer.
Danny is currently in the process of assembly. So we've got the rosters on, we've got the bottom frame on, we've got some of the lifting mechanism on, so Danny needs to get the wheels on, and then I think that's all there by the looks of everything. He's currently right behind me adjusting the motor weight settings. So we're setting it to 80%. We send all of our screens out as standard 80%. This is so that if we're ever on site and we need to turn it up, we can give it that little bit more power to go to 100% or 90% or whatever we need to do. And so 80% we find works well for most applications. So Dan's setting that now. He's going to then get that motor on the screen box on these rosters, and then have a look at the conveyor. So getting that together. This is the inside of one of our vibrating motors. This is smaller than the one we put on our E21C deck screens. So this is the weight system. So as it's currently set now, which is how it comes in from the factory, that's at 100%. Both of these weights, or all 4 of them, on both sides, are all set to the same place so that it's got maximum weight going in all directions. So as I said a minute ago, we set these to 80%, which is about there. So you can see that the weight is more evenly spread out a little bit. So that will create a more even balance for the weight spinning around, reducing the amount of vibration you get. So you can spin these right the way down to 20%. So that is a tiny gap there. So that is where the weight is going to be hitting, but that is really, really low. So Danny's about to set these to 80, retorque the bolts here, and then get the end caps covered on, and then back on the machine. The motor is now on the micro screen. So the motor that we saw myself and Dan talking up earlier, changing the settings to 80%, that is now on the screen box, which is on the roster, which is on the frame. And the frame has got most of the mechanism for the wheels, apart from the wheels itself. So as soon as this is all ready with the conveyor, we can get the wheels on as well. So this is all set up and working as it should be. So it's a little bit violent to start with, just for the first little bit, but that's fine. By the time it's on the wheels, it'll be fine. That's it really. You can see it's going in slightly forward motion. I say you probably can't see it too well, but it's going slightly forward motion, so it's not just going up and down in that action or that action. It's going forwards, 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 forwards. So we turn the material round and round, screen it a lot better than normal. Yeah, I think that's about it really. Sight banks 3 and 4 are now in the fabrication base. We've found the efficiency on these, so Steve has absolutely ploughed through with this 3rd one. Connor again is ploughing through with his 4th one. So these are getting done a lot faster than the first 2. Always happens, the first couple, it's working at the same time, so it's like the same one essentially. It takes a little bit longer, they're working out what they need to do, how they need to do stuff, and they can already pre-plan how they're going to do this and prep all the parts accordingly. So glad to see that we're finding efficiencies. That's what we like seeing. Yeah. Phase 2 of the sight banks is in progress. Connor and Steve folded everything yesterday for it, for the first one at least. So Steve is currently fabricating the door, just finishing welding it up now. Connor is over here countersinking some holes for some M12 countersunk bolts. Again, this is for part of the door panel. There's certain parts of this that we won't be showing due to the locking system. We don't want everyone knowing how it works. Hardly Fort Knox information, but trade secrets. So we'll hopefully show you a few more clips of this being put together. A bit more fabrication, the test assembly, and then hopefully the other 4 for the phase 2. WBT, we are getting there now, so we've not spent any hours on this really this week. It's just been waiting for our electrician to come in and then get phone calls back from our hydraulic supplier. So I'll show you the system working now. We're still dealing with the high amperage issue. It's okay to run like short term, so I'll show you it working, the actual physical side of it. We still need to fit the sensor barriers for where the mechanisms stop automatically in the control box, and then it's just the window and seals. So we've got a start system, which then turns the door on, and by the way, we've turned the shaker motor off for the deck screen because it's just a bit too loud for testing some of this. So a bit too much vibration for us going in there and adjusting stuff. So that's why this isn't turning on. So start system, start fan, which also isn't fitted at the minute. That's getting fitted on site. Clamp on. Yeah. It'll work. There we go. So the clamp will be always on. It's always trying to pull down. So the operator will have to clamp off as long as this sensor here is pressed. So I'll press that in there, clamp off, which lifts the top bracket up there. That's now fully extended, so I can now, or the operator can then now load the urn into it, clamp back down, that locks into place. So we'll go lift 1 up on the twist dial. So there'll be a perspex window here so the operator can get off the forklift and then operate it using this window. So this lift 1 will finish at roughly 90 degrees to the ground with a sensor, so about there. And then we now need to go into lift 2 whilst pressing this here, lift 2 up. That last little bit for lift 1, and that is everything fully tipped down. So then we will lift 2 back up until that is in position, or back down, sorry, until that is in position. Lift 1 back down. Then as soon as this is back down, the operator can then open the door, or lift the clamp up, sorry, and then open the door. There will also be a door sensor switch on here, so if the door ever opens, the machine will no longer operate. So the fan will be turned off, the vibrating deck screen will be turned off, and then the lifting mechanism will be deactivated, so it cannot be moved. That's about it for this week for this WBT. Hopefully next week we will get the rest of it working, talk to our hydraulic company again, work out the amps. Yeah.
Hello YouTube and welcome back. This is a diesel coffin for MV Kelly. Pretty simple construction, 100 by 100 angle. You got symmetrical frames top and bottom, and then some uprights just hold it, square it up, weld it all together, and then these sheets get lifted on, stitch welded, and then just a run of silicone between each stitch, just to stop any water getting in and seeping rust out anywhere else. Pretty simple construction. It's now going to go into paint and then it's ready for the customer.
MV Kelly diesel coffin has now been painted, quite obviously. So Rob and Rob both sealed this up in the previous clips. Dan has now painted this. This is Oxford Skip Blue. So it's the same paint that gets used on skips. We paint the Lynch digger buckets with it, and then we paint some of the MV Kelly site boxes with it. Not the site banks, but the site boxes. All get used on the same paint. So we try and time it so that we paint these towards the end of the week because they take a long time to dry. We can't take them outside because if it rains you get watermarks. So we leave them as long as we can in the paint room. So over the weekend is the prime time. We're not in a rush to get anything else in because it's the weekend. So these will now sit here over the weekend, ready for customer collection on Monday or Tuesday next week. Saturday morning in the workshop now. So Gavin and I are off to Wellingborough today. About a 25-minute drive to get there. So we're going to get there for 6:30. Just double checking we've got everything in the van for the minute, checking that the van itself is fine, tyres and fuel and whatnot. So we'll be on the road very shortly and we'll show you some more clips. So this is the first platform in the skip. So we've got the first section, or first of these sections from today, as well as the walkway on top. So we're not 100% sure if the walkway is going to stay like that. We're planning on lowering the other section down on top of this, pulling this aside a bit and squishing it down. So it's fitting there very, very snug. Thankfully, the saying is measure twice, cut once, and that certainly worked with this. We've got not a great deal of room at each ends, but that's perfect for us. Less cutting we have to do means the faster we're done, and the sooner we're done for the weekend. Second section is now out of the pit. We've got it in the walkway area, and Gav is now gas-acting the walkway section. So as I was saying before, I'm pretty sure this walkway is just a bit too wide to fit in the skip, so we're having to cut it off. There's 5 beams along the bottom, and then 4 or 5 along the top, steps at the other end. So we're going to get them cut off now, and then crane the whole lot over into the skip.
So this is the last big section, heading towards the scrap bin.
So we've got the other bit in the scrap bin, which I'll show you in a minute. Have you already done it, have you? Oh, Archie's already showed you that bit. So we won't be doing that. Yeah, just come towards you a little bit, Arch. It's just, you're clear, but only just. There you go. So if I sneak through here, I'll show you what's left. So we've got a pit and a drain underneath, but over the years all the muck and dirt is collected underneath. Luckily we're not getting involved in clearing that out. And that's all the big bits in. And then we've just got odds and sods to put in there, and then we are done. So that's us all tidied up, all finished off. As I say, there's a pit underneath. It's full of the sludge. I expect I'll have to get somebody in with a digger, empty that into a skip. But we've took all the metalwork out. There was some mesh in here, we've just took all that out. And make sure it's all tidy. We'll speak to the customer and see if they want some floor plates put in across here, because I don't think anybody realised what was underneath the machine. So yeah, job done there. Right, I'm going to show you the skip. So that's the skip, all as it should be, not too high. So yeah, job done.
Okay, so this week's fun fact, we're going back. Our fun facts always seem to revolve around either aeroplanes or trains. So we're going back to aeroplanes this week. Black box flight recorder. What do you know about the black box flight recorder? I'll tell you all about it. Adam's found the fact on this. The black box flight recorder was invented by somebody called David Warren in the 1950s. Now, apparently, he did it because his dad died in a commercial airline accident in 1934, did you say?
1934.
1934. He died in 1934, so this fella decided 20 years later he ought to do something about it. Bizarre, but there you go. So he invented the world's first flight recorder. Now, I've been looking into why it's called the black box, and it seems as though there's no definitive answer on this, but from what I can see, the general consensus is it's called the black box because it's mysterious and dark and you can't see what's inside it, and the information inside is hidden, which means you're in the dark if you've got the black box in your hand. That's the general consensus from what I can see. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave your comments, all the usual bits and bobs. We said a few weeks ago about doing a question and answer session, so we're building some questions that we'll do a question and answer session. So if you've got any questions that are burning in your mind that you want answering from us here at Spitfire, and that goes across the team, anybody, you can ask Adam how nice it is working with me, or anything like that, or what does Melissa really do when she's here? Any questions like that if you want us. Melissa's now giggling in the background. So yeah, any questions like that, leave them in the comments and we'll do a question and answer session soon.
Good morning, YouTube. My name's Archie.
Now this week, there's a lot going on. There's all sorts of bits and bobs going on this week because, sorry, I thought you were shaking your head there. It's like, no, that's no good.
Sorry.
You're just flapping your hair about. Say. Come and sit over here, Melissa. Thank you all for watching. We've had a lovely conversation today about how I'm going to hand my notes in. We've decided that Melissa's like going to die here because she's not going to retire, she's not going to hand the notes in, she's not going to do anything. Like one day, like, where's Melissa? She's like, oh, she passed away in the night or something, because she didn't want to admit that she got to retire or hand a notice in. So. It's true, isn't it? I'm not joking. You just wouldn't have the bottle to come and just sort of say anything.
This is a cool bit recorded, so.
Oh. But you stopped.
You're famous.
What can I say?
We'd be lost without Melissa. Be very quiet.
We've been expecting you. So the dogs, Treacle and Monty, have been for a haircut today. They're all looking like puppies again because they were looking a bit homeless before.
So motor is on the motor. It's a little bit not very proper pronunciation. The motor.
It's my f***ing workshop, so you can f*** up.
Oh god.